Hello guys, welcome to another video. First of all, I said that this share as a belong review, so if you read the full story for yourself, you can go down in the description to find the link to the original post and read the full story for yourself. That being said, let's get into the video. Naruto Rebirth of the Yellow Flash, Chapter 23 and Part 23. Prelude Jonin exam. Come on, you promised. Winked Naruto as he followed Samui, so he was huffling and had her arms crossed. No, it's not cool, Samui answered. But you, Chan. Naruto whined. The whole village of Kumo was watching on in amusement, as it was rare for the daughter of the Raikage to show any emotion, and currently seeing her huffing in annoyance because of a boy was entertaining. The village had been surprised when they saw the clueless shared by the two clownness shared by the two. No boy in the village was ever given the light of day by Samui. Seeing someone so close to her was surprising. This, however, didn't go unnoticed by the local population. Samui was one of the most wanted kunoichi in Kumo. Now seeing her taken off the market by son of the Yandame Hokage didn't sit right with them. They didn't try to challenge Naruto for her hand, but the simple blast of contest killing intent was enough to push them back. A simple burst of constant killing intent was enough to push most of them back. Naruto was currently trying to convince Samui to come with him to the movies, but she wasn't in the mood, as the only movie she was princess. The only movie one was Princess Glay. No means no, Narukun. And Samui said, fine then, what do you suggest we do, Yu-chan? Naruto asked lunch. She answered stoically. Then Naruto looked at her for a good few moments before he said, I'm cooking, let's go. Now, not waiting for an answer, he grabbed her by the hand, and the two of them left to go to her apartment. No one could see, but Samui had a very small but genuine smile on her face. Egg couldn't help but grin at the scene in front. He knew that kind of life Naruto had. He knew the kind of life Naruto had lived, and honestly, he couldn't have chosen a better partner for her. However, he was very conscious of how strong Naruto had gotten since the Chunin exam. Because of this, he decided to arrange a test to see how far Naruto had come. He didn't, however, take presumption from permission. However, he did take permission from Tsunade, who readingly agree under the condition the fight should take place in an area where no one else could be able to get any information on his skills. Sorry, I'm a little bit sleepy. That's why I'm stuttering. Alright. He then called this session and said, Mibuki, get B in Konoha. I can't believe it, Kushina muttered as she sat in front of Tsunade at the hospital. Well, that's how it is. It really is. You are 3 months pregnant with what you are. You are 3 months pregnant. What are you going to do? Asked Tsunade. I'm going to raise it. Mangetsu and I are already married because of the peace treaty with the Mist. I love him just like I loved Minato all those years ago. Both of them were perfect, Kushina said with a small smile before standing up and going back to the Uzumaki state. What the hell is happening in this story? I'm really goddamn grateful he didn't continue it and stop the story. Once inside, she sighed a little as she felt the slight impediment. Her daughter still had over a year of training left, while her son had been granted a few traveling rights, and was sent to Kumo to act as an exchange ninja for a time being. He would return in 1 year. He would be returning in 1 year. She soon spotted Mangetsu, who was sitting and reading a scroll. Making her way up to him, she felt her excitement returning in full force. Mangetsu-kun, I have something to tell you, Dateban. And what is it? Kushina-chan asked Mangetsu. I am pregnant, Dateban. She excitingly said. Mangetsu stared at her before blinking once, then blinking twice. He then jumped up and excitingly asked, does that mean I am going to be a father? Yes, it does, Dateban. Kushina answered, her excitement dripping in. Wangetsu at this point couldn't handle anything and jumped at Kushina while lifting her up in the air while spinning. After a few spins, he put her down before planting a passionate kiss on her lips. He then rubbed his forehead with her and said, thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to me. I promise I will protect both of you, even if it cost me my life. I love you, Mongetsu-kun, Kushina whispered. I love you too, Kushina-chan, Mongetsu said as they hugged each other. For a while, both Mongetsu and for a while, both Sugetsu and Hinata watched the scene with a smile adorning their faces. You know, I am kinda glad that Nissan finally found someone meant for him. His life has been so hectic. Sugetsu commented, I agree, even Sensei has it tough from the death of the Yandame to preventing Naruto to come back and try to earn his trust back to even helping me learn the importance of being in a team and family. Hinata before both of them Hinata said before both of them went silent and looked on ahead elsewhere. Itachi and Jiraiya were seen to be sparring at high speed. All right, that's enough, Itachi. You have been progressing well. Let's take a break. If you keep progressing like this, we can have it done in 2 months' time. Thank you for your help, Jiraiya-sama. This will help me immensely. Itachi replied. Though I am curious why you are learning Sage Mode and training with Kuronai these days, asked Joraya. I overused the Mangekyo Sharingan in our long term mission in the mist. My body needs healing, and I not on ordinary level. Because of overuse, I have been losing my eyesight. Tsunade-sama suggested me to learn Senjutsu hear from you. I have also arranged for a pair of eyes when I get blind. I am training with Kuronai to bring up my illusion even without the Sharingan. I am also training to gain visibility to back on go back on when I lose my Sharingan versatility. I am also training to gain versatility to go back on when I lose my Sharingan. Itachi explained. Why don't you use those eyes? Asked Joraya. You know, why don't you use those eyes? Asked Joraya. You know, he killed the clan by going mad due to his power. I can take the risk. Also, those eyes were stolen from when I sealed them. Stolen from where I sealed them. Itachi said with a sigh. Mikoto, who was listening from a distance, felt her eyes widen at her son's play. She jumped and leaned in the clearing, making both Itachi and Jiraiya turn to her. She looked at Itachi in a stern way before moving and bonking him on the head. You insolent idiotic baka. What the hell are you thinking, hiding that information from me? She roared. Itachi pouted before looking down and saying, I didn't want you to worry. I know how hard Sayuri's defection hits you hard, so I wanted to avoid giving you extra headache. Mikoto's eyes softened as she hugged Itachi and said, you could never pardon me. Now I have the Mongekyo Sharingan as well, and since you are better at using it effectively, I want you to take my eyes. No, that will leave you crippled, Kachan. You have your career to worry about as well. Itachi strongly replied. Before Mikoto could reply, Joraiya cut in and said, however, exchanging your eyes, Itachi can take Mikoto's eyes and Mikoto can take Itachi's eye. That way, both of you will be fine. Both the Uchihas looked at him once, then twice before giving him their usual Itachi. Mikoto then turned to Jiraiya and said, where are Mito and Narumi? Are they doing well? I don't really know. I sent them to the Slug Realm for them to train with their slug summon for 4 months. After I sent them, Tsunade called me in for training Itachi, and here I am, Jiraiya answered. Both Uchihas nodded before disappearing and going to the hospital to get a surgery booked in. Jiraiya then took out his notepad before giggling, previously muttering about some important research. After a long time, back with Naruto. Naruto was humming softly as he stood in Samui's kitchen, cutting down the vegetable for the food he was about to cook. He was currently in a civilian wear with all his equipment inside the storage seal on his body. Samui then came out of the room to find a nice scent of food in progress. She was currently wearing on of Naruto's shirt and had a baggy trousers. She walked up to him and hugged him from the back, taking in and not only his scent but also the scent of the food. Not only his scent but also the scent of food. Naruto blushed red when he felt more than the empathic breeze touching his back. He blushed was his blush was something that Samui caught. She then smirked a little before moving towards his neck and giving him a lick that sent him shuddering. She then moved her mouth to his ear and said, "You smell very nice, Naruto-kun." Naru-kun. Before she nipped on his ear, making the poor guy go red, tomato red. Naruto then shook off the blush on his face before keeping the vegetables down. He then turned around and took Samui into his hands and pulled her in close. He stared in her blue eyes before leaning in and kissing her softly. The kiss materialized into a full-on make-out session. After a few moments, Naruto broke off the kiss before he put Samui's hair on the side and then proceeded to kiss her bare neck. Samui moaned in pleasure when she felt his lips on her back with his warm breath caressing her. He then broke off the kiss and once again stared at her, eyes warm. Samui blushed when she knew the look of love in his eyes. He moved his lips towards her and towards her ears and said, "I love you, Samui-chan." He then proceeded to nibble on her ear before giving her giving beginning to kiss her again. However, they were forced to stop when the door was knocked. Naruto looked at the blushing Samui and said, "We will continue this later." "Cool," she replied, trying to fight back her blush. Naruto smiled before kissing her once more. He then proceeded towards the door, only to find Killer Bee having standing there with a stupid grin on his face. Bee was someone Naruto had come to respect over the last week. He usually hung out with V whenever Samui was busy. Yo, V, what are you doing? I asked Naruto. Fine, blonde bro. V replied in a rapping manner, making Naruto cringe. He found the man's rapping funny rather than annoying. He of he of he of on he of one knew that it was a way of him dealing with his mental pressures that the path of the shinobi brought. Naruto himself found someness in cooking and recently painting. What can I help you with, Hachi? Naruto asked with a smirk. On a spar, it would be a good test to test for your skills against someone far. be wrapped. Sure, but however, tomorrow I am cooking after all. Naruto replied with a smile. You see a fool, we said before disappearing. With that, Naruto went back inside the apartment, finishing his cooking and playing with Samui a little. The next day, Naruto was seen standing against V in the moving island where V normally spent his days. They were currently both having a battle gear ready to test their metal against each other. Naruto was shining in excitement. He was finally going to fight a Kage level opponent. Today was a test to see how far he had gotten in his training. All right, bro. How do you want to do this? Yo, asked B. Free for all, everything except killing and manning goes. Manning goes. Maiming. Maiming. What does maiming mean? Goes. Naruto replied. We nodded before all emotion left their faces. All emotion left their faces. Both of them were riding a serious battle hardened look. A tense aura suddenly rushed over the clearing. Naruto summoned both of his sword and held them in basic dual wielder stance. B in response unleashed all seven of his swords. How serious he was. Naruto narrowed his eyes and then closed his eyes, flashing his chakra and releasing his chains. He then opened his eyes to reveal three shining tomoe. B wasn't surprised since he had fought against Minato during the third Shinobi War and knew of his Sharingan. Both of them stared at each other before disappearing in a burst of speed. Soon the air was filled with sound and metal clashing against each other. B using his super speed, strength, and his experience was constantly on attack and was pushing Naruto back. Naruto was keeping up with the help of his Sharingan and was making up number disadvantage with his chains, making up the number disadvantage with his chains. He was able to defend well against B's onslaught. Despite being much lower with the seals on he had on. A wild slash hit Naruto and he was sent flying back. Controlling his path, he rotated mid-air before landing gracefully. He looked and saw be having a torrent grin on his face. Naruto growled a little bit, something that we heard. His grin grow as he said, "Oh, is blonde, unable to match up with the awesomeness of the Hachibi-sama." Naruto took a deep breath before standing up and saying, Kai, release. Seal mark appeared all over his body before disappearing. Naruto then cracked his neck before disappearing disappearing. Naruto then cracked his neck, disappearing in a speed much faster than before. He appeared in front of a surprised Bee before kicking him straight in the in the jaw. Bee didn't notice that Naruto's physical strength went up as well as he felt the density of the kick. This time it was Naruto who grinned tremendously and motioned to B to attack him. Motion B to attack him. Both of them once again ran at each other and met in the clash of steel. After a few minutes, both of them fighters jumped back. Neither of them were even sweating. Both of them then settled their blades before rushing at each other to fight a taijutsu battle. During the battle, Naruto learned one thing: if he was strong in kenjutsu, his taijutsu is a specialty. Taijutsu is his specialty. He was literally tearing through Naruto in taijutsu. Then a three punch combo hit Naruto and he was forced to fly back once again, landing on his feet. Naruto wiped the blood off his face and said, "Damn, you hit hard. There's Sama, and of course I fought like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Bee rapped. Well then, I guess I will just have to get serious, Onsa. Naruto said Izakali. He then clapped his hands together and closed his eyes before opening them and entering sage mode. He then grinned at V before returning to return the grin as he felt the spike in Naruto's spear. Naruto then said, "Let's dance." Both of them charged at each other once again. This time, however, Naruto was matching V's blow to blow. Both of them were serious. This foundation with fist created shock waves that went through the forest. The animals inside themselves were avoiding the clearing because of the strength of the aura that V and Naruto were emanating. Naruto then used his surprise dance to draw B in before using his double deflecting deflection and sent B flying into a tree. Naruto was panting slightly. B taijutsu was amazing. Naruto was sure he couldn't take on Guy when he had the gates open, especially since he knew B wasn't using his Biju chakra. Naruto was sure that he couldn't take on Guy when he had the gates open, especially since he knew B wasn't using his Biju chakra. Yo, To-san. Yo, To-san. Any idea how to counter his Biju power? I, for once, am not going to use Susano. I'm not going to use Susano. That eternal Mongekyo Sharingan is my trump card in case that I am out of options. Naruto mentally asked. I think a combination of Hiraishin and the space-time absorption barrier should be enough. That's all I will say, kid. Kurama answered. Naruto muttered over the idea for a few moments before he understood what Kurama meant and mentally grinned. However, he soon felt a rather opposing era. Naruto turned to V. Naruto saw that he was entering his Biju Beast mode, slightly sighing tiredly, Naruto took out the three-pronged kunai, three-pronged Hiraishin kunai before creating the shadow clones ready to ready for the flash step. However, before they could continuously, A landed in between of them and them with his lighting armor on. A-sama, how can we help you? I came here to stop your little spy. It's going out of control. And I assumed a spy as you authorized a spy. I didn't think you would reach he would reach for those kunais, or he would reach for his Biju. The fight is over and it's a draw. A announced, but bro, it was just getting good. B whined but was shut down when A bonked his head on the bonked him on the head. Naruto then sighed before exiting Sage mode and dispelling his kunai clones. He then picked up the original before flashing away. A then turned to B and said, "So how do you rate him? He is an elite Jonin level in his base form with Senjutsu. He is almost definitely an A rank, S rank ninja. Being honest, we have it lucky that he is an ally and someone who is in a serious relation with one of our top konoichis." We replied, his voice uncharacteristically serious. Yeah. Hmm. That is what I expected. I guess then I should tell him and Tsunade about the Jonin exams coming up in 2 months. A said he's more than ready, and I know this fight wasn't us going all out. Neither of us used ninjutsu. B started. How interesting. A started before leaving. The next day. It was early morning. We find Naruto and Sami peacefully sleeping together. Naruto had his hands forcibly wrapped around her waist, while Samui had her face in the crook of her neck for her neck. Their sleep, however, was brought to an end when their door was knocked. Samui growled at the sound and irritably left the warmth of her boyfriend and flinched before grabbing and moving towards the door, opening the door with an irritable explosion experience. Retired, tired with an tired expression, she found Yugito in front of her. It was uncool of you to come so early, Sensei Samui said in a stoic motion. Well, I didn't come to disturb you a long time with your boyfriend. Raikage-sama told me to tell you that he needs both of you and Naruto in his office in 1 hour. He has something important to tell you, Yugito said amusedly. Samui grabbed, grumbled. Samui grumbled about annoying fathers before nodding. She then closed the door and went to wake Naruto up. Opening the door, she found that he was already sitting up and was looking for her. She sighed before moving back to bed and snuggling up to him. He then processed to tell Naruto about what she was told. Naruto, however, grinned in response and created two shadow clones, one of them hinged into Samui. One of them hinged into Samui. Naruto then sent both of them to the Raikage's office while he himself rotated himself until he was on top with a blushing Samui under him. He smirked before over lowering down and kissing her on the nose before proceeding to kiss her on the lips. And as Naruto and Samui had their intimate moments, the Shadow Clones made their way to the tower where they were informed of the upcoming Jonin exams. The clones were informed that since both of them were to be Jonin, they were allowed to take the exam solo. He then informed Naruto that Tsunade had already been informed and that he had been allowed to use the training grounds for his practice. I will not in thank, noddingly in thanks. Both of the clones left before disappearing and sending the memories to the original who stopped the makeout session for a moment before reviving the conversation to some reliving, telling Samui about what they heard. After that, both of them shrugged before continuing their activities. That's all for this video. I have to see in the next video, and I'm really tired, so I'm going to sleep. Bye bye.